If you start your new job thinking that you will never fit in and that no one will like you, then you will have created a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once your feeling of inferiority has been vindicated, you are more likely to have negative feelings about the future, which only leads to a vicious cycle that feels impossible to escape. Feelings of anxiety and inferiority are like a modern plague. Many people feel as though there are problems everywhere they look, then get overwhelmed before trying to shift the blame for their situation onto others or their circumstances, rather than actively fighting to change it. But if you want to change your circumstances, then you have to change your thinking instead of passively accepting your situation. For example, the author knew a man who had lost everything, but was able to regain his energy and the willingness to continue living simply by making a list of all positive things he still had in his life. By focusing on these aspects, he proactively changed his perspective to a healthier one. Just like the man in the example, you too can use the power of focusing on the positive and believing in success in order to overcome any obstacles in your life. For example, the author's magazine Guideposts underwent a serious crisis that was solved in a curious way. During a meeting, the staff actively visualized having more subscribers. That's it. And yet, this wishful thinking was followed by a real increase in their readership. So, smart idea number 1, believe in yourself. You must realize that the reason other people don't like you lies within you. It's your attitude. Thankfully, you can actually change your attitude in order to be appreciated by others by learning to become a comfortable person. James A. Farley, the former Postmaster General of the United States, is a great example of a comfortable person. He was well liked by virtually everybody because he had the right attitude. Others felt that he was natural, honest, and comfortably outgoing. Think for a moment about the people you really like. Do they talk about themselves all the time, or do they show an interest in you? They probably show interest in you, and you should do the same. When you think positively about others, show them that you care about them and what they do, who they are, etc., then they will want to be friendly with you in return. For example, the author once counseled a man at his clinic who felt as though everyone disliked him. He realized eventually that this was caused by his exhausting love for himself and self-centered attitude. So he made a list of all the people he met every day and made a concentrated effort to talk to them and notice them as individuals. By shifting his focus from himself to others, he soon became loved and appreciated. So smart idea number 2, caring about others will make them care about you. Have you ever felt totally overwhelmed by all your problems? While some of them might be real and pressing, such as debt or disease, it's your attitude toward those problems that is of the ultimate importance. Debts take time to pay, and diseases don't disappear with the wave of a word. But you can change your attitude in an instant. If you live your life with a focus on positivity and the search for inner peace, you will have enough energy to overcome your perceived problems. In fact, you can easily organize your life in a way that leads to inner peace. For example, the author once had a breakfast meeting with 2 people who had both had very different experiences the night before. One watched the news and slept poorly, the other read the Bible and enjoyed a wonderful sleep. While this might seem trivial, our sleep is of the utmost importance because it refreshes our energy. Sleeping with an earful of trouble, for example, by watching the news while dozing off, will lead to a restlessness that prevents you from tackling your problems. Luckily, you have the power to positively influence this vital source of energy. In contrast, most people think that their situation is determined by outside circumstances and dumb luck. But in fact, your world is nothing more than the thoughts you have about your life experiences. If you think positively, you set up positive forces that bring with them positive results. Thinking negatively, on the other hand, brings negative results. And this negative thinking can even affect your physical health by making you ill. We can see this principle in action by examining one young man whom the author describes as one of the most complete failures he had ever made. For the longest time, he couldn't make any positive changes in his life because he wouldn't examine his attitude. However, after realizing that his life was bad because his thoughts were negative, he was able to set everything right. So smart idea number 3, your own thoughts are the key to overcoming your problems. Now if I have to sum up this whole video in just one line, then that would be, before you learn anything in life, you have to learn to accept what is, if you want a positive, peaceful life. So that you always remember this quote, you can buy this t-shirt, wall poster or coffee mug from our official website by following the link given below in the description. I have learned these things from the book The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. You can buy the book by following the link in the description. Thanks for watching. More wisdom, more solution, better life.